This is a trade recap for Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. It's number 405 for our little paper trading data gathering. Before we go back to just normal live trading and continue with one and done. So if you're new here, currently we're doing a study that's going to last 90 days. This is the first week of it, so we're gathering some data for our baseline, and then we'll continue right along. More information on that as I feel comfortable talking about it, but for the most part, going to just leave it at that. The other thing we're doing is one and done. So that is basically just taking the first trade that triggers. That's the only trade you can take using a size of 5 to 7 contracts right now. And we've been spent kind of working through different phases of that just to kind of get it done. So with that being said, overall, pretty normal-ish trading session this morning. Not a whole lot of issues. Maybe again, just some more tweaking on timing and things like that, trying to get better in that regard for executions. Yeah, but that is something that Pat, my coach and mentor, has been actually kind of focused on right now is timing, really getting that timing down, and encouraging members to do so and how to do that and different exercises and again, how to achieve those ends. So that is one of the advantages of having a coach and a mentor to give you the guidance that you need to really help, get yourself together, get yourself up to that professional grade that, again, we're all kind of striving for. So if you're looking for a high-level coach and mentor because you're new or struggling with day trading, that is definitely the one you want to be learning from. You can find his website over at tricktrades.com. And you can read up about him, about the service. He's been at this for over a decade now. He does it on a professional level, and he proves that day in, day out, live in the markets during the trade session. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's basically the one. I know he is the best at this. I can't think of a single person that can even hold a candle to him. So with that being said, if that's something you're interested in, check it out. If you want a sampling of the information that he puts out there, jump over to his YouTube page where he has over 1,700 videos. There's an entire library of information there, but you're going to have to do the effort, or put in the effort to really sift through those videos to pull out the pieces of information and then put all those pieces together, which will be one hell of an undertaking. And honestly, it's probably just easier. No, it is easier just to join the service and go from there. With that being said, if you are interested in joining, check the description below. You'll find links to the membership. Save you a little bit of money in your first month. Give it a shot. See if it jives with what you're looking for. If not, all good. Now let's go ahead and get into this morning's recording. So if you are new here, kind of lay the land. We only trade SPY and Qs. Those are the only two tickers we trade. We trade nothing else. On this top row here, this is SPY. On the bottom row here, this is Qs. On the left here, you will find our daily charts. In the middle are 1-minute intraday charts, and I keep my order execution here on the right. These blue levels you see here are the levels chosen by Pat, typically starting the night before and then refining the morning of to develop a trade plan around. And he does that for both SPY and Qs. And then, again, gives us the trade plan and, again, the reasoning behind it, all of that. Now, once he sets these levels, here's the thing, is they do not move. They're static. If you're moving your levels, especially after the market opens, and that was your trade plan was based around those levels, your plan is basically invalid at that point. So they stay the same. In addition to that, on my chart, you'll see these red dashed levels. Those are just my risk levels. I like a visual level of risk. He does not. That is just a quirk for me. So this is about 10 seconds before the open. I'm going to go ahead and hit play. We're looking Qs for the short and SPY for the long. But again, part of the rules of one and done is you just take whatever one triggers first. Here's the open. So you can see there was a little bit of delay and kind of lag, and a few people noted on that things were a little funky this morning in that regard. I think Pat was having issues with DOS lagging, and as you saw in the beginning there, the charts kind of lagged there at the beginning for the first few seconds. And I think the premium was also a little laggy on interactive brokers as well. The premium, I can tell if it was lag or that's the characteristic of the premium, but it seemed very, I don't know, a little jumpy. Sorry, I'm just drawing in some lines of, you know, technical levels from pre-market, just to kind of keep an eye on things while we wait. So you'll see me draw those in real quick. Step forward. SPY starting to work its way up. Q's kind of popped down, held. Now it's trying to kind of figure out what it wants to do. Get things moved out the way. And then as we go, as you can see, SPY is kind of working its way up in that first yellow level I drew there. And then Q's is kind of just trying to figure out what exactly it wants to do. You zoom in a little bit. SPY starts kind of rejecting that first level. Q's is still trying to decide. Starts working its way up. Now the risk was a little wide today, and you're going to see that on my initial entry. I took it for just one contract, that small size, because I wanted to make sure I could correct this as it came higher, if it came higher. So see here, it kind of rejects that level on Q's a little bit, kind of pulling back, reacting with it. Not really rejecting, but again, interacting with it, put it that way. So, and that's what it does. It's just one of those things where it's like these levels, you're going to get some level of reaction typically off of them. How much, how little, yeah, that's can be, again, something to just kind of observe. Some levels will interact more than others, obviously. And again, that's why sometimes you have to assess, could you take a trade off of that? Potentially. Is what you're risking off of? Is there enough meat on the bone? Those little aspects that you really do need to pay attention to, because it's one of those things that can easily, again, what worked in terms of the price action may not work in, say, in terms of like what the premium actually did, or was it worth the effort? Because you got to remember that it isn't just the actual money at risk, it's also your mental capital. And something Pat goes over is you can only take so many trades in a day, so many executions, because every time you do, you expend some mental capital, and you only have a very finite amount of that. So you want to be very selective with where you spend it. So Q's kind of starts working its way up into that level. Drop down to one contract because, again, may not necessarily get that much higher, even though we do have a little bit of ways. So, again, I made the decision to enter early here. Did it extend out the risk? Yes, but I also saved all my size for the level up top, essentially. So looks like, again, SPY might be starting to kind of roll over there with that little reaction. So I did go ahead, like I said, entered with one there. Going to hold the rest my ammunition basically for up high. So I want to make sure I can slam that average to where it needs to be should this move higher. Was also one of those things we're pretty extended below our all-time highs, and it's one of those things like if this thing, as Pat was telling us during the pre-market, like if this thing was going to like move to like the next leg higher, chances are it would have gapped up. But the fact that it hasn't, again, that's kind of telling, especially like with SPY, how many times it's kind of tested in that range that it's developed over the past few days. So again, little things, again, reasons why you have a coach and mentor is to point out these kind of things where it's like you may be missing that because of this experience. So in with one so far, just kind of watching, waiting, just kind of figuring out what it wants to do. SPY's not super sure what it wants to do per se. So just trying to step this forward so it doesn't belabor the point too much. It does ultimately start working its way up. So bam, hit it with 2 as we're approaching the level. Because there's also the prior close right there. So now we're in with 3. Starts kind of reacting there. SPY's getting close to its level, and now it's getting into its level. So now I entered with another 2, so now we're up to 5. But again, that really got the average to where it needed to be. And then we just wait. It comes a little bit higher. Just going to get zoomed in here a little bit. And we've worked our ways up without a really significant pullback. So let's see what we can get. Again, stripped out 2 right there on that reaction. Got that nice dump out. Got to see how it's interacting. Going to pull 2 more out. Now we're down to 1. And then ultimately pulled that one off right there. All right, so into the actual charts. So as you can see, pull my entries. As we came kind of up into this level, entered with 1, patient, save the rest of my ammunition for coming up into the level, 2 at the prior close, and 2 at the level to give a total of 5. First reaction, stripped out 2, got that follow through and that wash, stripped out 2 more, let it putz around a little bit to see exactly what I want to do, and ultimately ended up taking it off. But as you can see, popped back up, confirmed weakness off the prior close level, and then dumped out. So all in all, solid trade. Can't really think of issues other than, again, a little bit of timing. Entered early on that 1, but managed it, I think, appropriately in my mind. Didn't get antsy with it, didn't get anxious, fearful, or anything like that. Yeah, so it was a pretty good trade session. Again, just another green trade. Yeah, testament to Pat and the strategy, his trade plans, all of that, and how well it works. So it's one of those things where if that is something you feel you could benefit from again, learning from someone that is of that caliber, I highly recommend you join the service and really develop and hone your skills, and so you can do this on a professional level, make it an actual dedicated income to the point where you're not dependent on anyone else, just yourself. Because ultimately it's one of those things where it's like, would you like to work a job quote unquote, where you can make a good living, you are your own boss, you set your more or less your own hours in terms of, like, again, how long this takes, as you can see, again, we were done trading essentially half an hour, 45 minutes into the market session. Take it, again, half an hour for 45 minutes for preparation, even an hour. So again, it's one of those things where from, say, 8:30 to 10:30, you work 2 hours to make, again, a solid income. I mean, find me another job that can really do that for you. So with that being said, like I said, good trade session, some more data points, some, again, little things just to keep an eye on and continue to work on in terms of like the entry timing or just execution timing in general. So again, that'll be the theme going forward. And yeah, that's more or less all I have. Hopefully everyone else had a good morning and a good trade session. And that's all I got. So we'll catch you later. Have a good one.